Good afternoon, 6-4 parents. Mr. Hagedorn here with our math update. Again, the last day of school is going to be June 27th, that Monday. It was changed to June 27th. All right, in Math 6 Plus next week, on Monday, we will be taking our Unit 12, our data unit major. Study guides and practice problems are due Monday as well. After that, we will be starting our last 7th grade unit on multiplying and dividing negative numbers. All right, in Math 6 next week, we'll be working on our practice problem and study guide for our Unit 8, again, our data unit. And on Thursday, we'll have our major on that. So practice problems and study guide will all be due on Thursday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys next week.
Hello, OWL families. It's Mrs. Pedersen with your ELA update. We are continuing work on our literature circle novels. We are finishing up Frightful's Mountain, and we are continuing to learn about the consequences and the benefits of DDT use. And Mr. O, I don't know if you've noticed, is waving at you in the background. Next week on Tuesday, we have our mid-unit assessment. We'll be comparing two texts and how authors present their arguments. Wednesday will be our final reading check on Frightful's Mountain. So make sure you are seeing some Frightful's Mountain books. And then next Friday, we have our second literature circle where we are going to talk about how our characters are continuing to develop and change in those lit circle novels. Hope you guys have a great weekend.
Hello, parents. I was working on my pageant wave, so yes, had to get the form correctly. This week, we started our last unit with the space unit. We talked about the predictable patterns caused by the sun, moon, and earth. We looked at day and night seasons, tides, eclipses, and moon phases. Next week, we're going to continue on with that, but what we're going to do is we're going to slightly alter each of those patterns by saying what happens if there's two moons, what happens if the moon goes away, what happens if the tilt changes, and we're going to see the effect that would have on what we currently experience here on Earth. And then at the end of next week, we're going to start the second part of the space unit, which is what the kids think of when they think of space, is what makes up the solar system. And then we'll start rolling with that. Remember, last day of school is Monday, June 27th.
When's the last day of school? 27th, Monday. Unless you are going to do a retest, which we'll be talking to you about that soon. Social studies, let's talk. First of all, do you notice over here a Fredag, or up at the top there, Fredager? We've been talking about the Vikings. Look at the owl above our head. We've been talking about the Vikings in social studies, and I was in charge of making the slides, so we got Viking names. So that was Freya's Day, which goes with some of the religious gods of Norse mythology and how some of the days of our week are named after those gods. So we were talking a little bit about that, and we were integrating it into our slides. So we are still very much in the Middle Ages in social studies, but we are coming to the end of our time with the Middle Ages. So we're working on a project right now called the Town Hall, where we've got a recession or a budget crisis within the imaginary town that we live in. And each kid has been assigned a group that is representative of a role within the manor. So we have the lords, we have the ladies, we have the knights, we have the peasants, we have a crafts group, which is the tanners, we've got the clergy, and each of them are writing a speech, and they should have finished it in class today. We're going to finish it this weekend if they didn't. A speech proving that their role is more important than everyone else and should not be the one that is exiled for budgetary problems. So on Monday, they will be presenting their speech, their one powerful speech, to the rest of the class, and we're going to vote on which group gets the boot, which is going to be kind of an interesting battle because every single one of those roles has some value to the town, has some value to the people of the town, but they've got to decide which one is least valuable. It's an interesting question and an interesting project that will finish on Monday. Then we'll get into the Crusades just a little bit. We'll get into the Black Death just a little bit. They did a lot of that in language arts class. And then we're going to get into the Renaissance, and we'll talk about how the Middle Ages breaks into the Renaissance. We'll talk about some interesting things within the Renaissance and end off the school year with the Reformation. So that's what we're doing in social studies class. If you have any questions or any concerns or anything you want to talk to us about, please let us know. If not, we will see you next week.